Mr. Anchit Mathur. Um, Welcome, Mr. Anchit Mathur. So to tell you about a little bit about Anchit, Anchit has been working in the gaming and animation industry for last many years now, mainly in the character animation and making characters feel alive and believable. Recently, he has also worked on a puzzle-based game, in collaboration with International Union Against Tuberculosis. So he just doesn't work on the fun. He also does it for a cause. He has taught 2D at NIT Ahmedabad, and so it's safe to say that he understands both sides. You know, so what studios actually expect. Hi, Ranjit. Really glad to have you here.
Hi, Vinita. Thank you for the introduction. So I'll just talk about myself a little bit. So I'm an animator as profession. So while growing up, I used to watch a lot of cartoons, and I used to think, okay, someday I'm going to make these. So after my 12th, I joined an institute to learn some software which could help me create that. But then soon I understood that just learning software is not enough. You need to have art fundamentals. So I joined a university in Pune and I did my graduation and a master's over there in fine arts, and I learned a lot about computer graphics and animation. Soon I realized that character animation is my niche. So after that, I joined Rockstar Games. At Rockstar Games, I got to work on a lot of AAA games, multiple big projects. And it's with that experience, now I'm trying to build my own company and I'm trying to produce more games and advertisements using that knowledge, of course. And I
Wow.
think introduction of AI started pretty very soon actually, maybe like 2 or 3 years back in my production line where uh, during working in the studio, we had to train the AI at what we were doing. So I think it's something really like a lot of design students need to know and, get equipped with this. Yeah,
All right. I mean, it's really great to hear about you, Anchit. I'll ask you few questions as my questions are, very common questions that anybody might have. And post that, I'll open the floor for questions from the audience.
sure.
Okay, my first question, so everybody, I think anybody and everybody here can relate to it easily. That if AI can generate logos, posters, and UI screens, and here I'm just talking about digital design space. So why would companies still pay a designer? So can you throw some light on it? I mean, why would they still hire and pay a designer?
Sure. So when you talk about design, design is not just aesthetics. Design is also an experience. So pre-AI era, designers were expected to, just create assets or just images or simple logos. But currently, designers are expected to create an entire brand identity or brand language, basically. And this is something which design students are expected to learn during their course. And yeah, this is the most important thing that this is uh, this is what gives a designer an edge over someone who is not using AI. So students who are getting into design studies currently, they are supposed to have their principles clear, and on top of that, some knowledge of AI.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think there will be a scarcity of jobs in the coming times for a designer? Do you think companies would stop hiring designers? Is it that so? Because of AI, is it the kind of impact that's going to be there on the market?
So it's not just the impact on students or individual designers, but also companies are being impacted. So currently, what companies are doing is they are not producing mass number of projects, but they are only focusing on one big project and trying to boost the quality of the project. So, and that's
Right.
what's expected from designers as well. You need to,
Hmm.
with the help of AI, you can surpass a lot of draft work or maybe repetitive work which designers have to do. So currently now they can focus more on their creativity, focus more on, perfecting their art, perfecting their current knowledge, and using
Yeah.
AI for all the repetitive work and then produce better work.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think
absolutely. And
correct. So so answering your question, there would be fewer jobs, but a lot of newer jobs are opening, like creative directors and art directors. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and if you ask me, I also believe that AI is actually just a tool, not a hero. You know,
correct.
we should know how to make use of it. We need to make it as a facilitator, not as a product. And this is
Exactly.
exactly how we should perceive it. And once we acquire skills on how can we use it
Mm-hmm.
for the benefit of in the same fields, especially for design, which is an ever emerging subject, so there I think AI is going to be really beneficial uh, for the time to come. And I believe that innovation, just doesn't need permission. It needs persistence. With persistence, I think we can uh, ace the AI ship. This is what we
Yes,
call it.
true.
Okay, so you said, a lot of new roles are also emerging because of AI. Just
Exactly. Yeah.
if we just talk about design, so what
Mm-hmm.
do you think, what new roles are going to be there in the coming times?
So, I can start with talking about how Photoshop and all these, softwares were introduced
Yeah.
when artists were working on paper. And at
Mm,
that time, artists thought, okay, softwares are going to take their job. But what ha actually happened is softwares helped them improve their art more. So this is exactly what it is. AI is just a tool, as you said. And the new jobs which you're talking about is you might have heard this term called prompt engineer. So prompt engineering is opening up even in design streams, and our designers who can use come up with correct prompt for their work are going to definitely they have an edge over designers who are not using AI. I think you're on mute, Vinita. Vinita, you're on mute. I think I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I want to ask you one pertinent question that everybody might have. Is that what, in your opinion, what kind of a mistake the students are making right now, that make them misunderstand the AI? You
Correct.
know, yeah.
So students currently are using AI just as a shortcut to coming up with pretty pictures. That's not what client wants, and that's not the correct use of AI basically. So AI cannot come up with empathy and the personal touch of a designer with the client. And even after like a client want a personal brand built for them, and AI just cannot do that. You need a human brain behind it to guide the AI through it. And exactly, this is the difference.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Tell me, Anchit, how is it going to impact the entire workflow for a designer? So designer has a specific workflow that that they work in.
correct.
So how is it going to overall impact their style of working?
So, designers have to adapt to newer workflows like uh, let's talk about logo design. So, when someone is designing logos, client for a client or for anything, so basically designers have a proper procedure to follow. Like they have to understand, study the client or study the brand they're making a logo for, and that part AI cannot do it. The students or the designer have to do it. And there's a lot of trial and error with the client and the designer. So that time can be reduced with AI. So
All right.
designers have to basically come up with ideas which they can put in AI, get a small, maybe a small gist of what they are going to work for, and then take the work forward from there. So it's like a back and forth with AI.
Yeah. So what do you recommend to students, if they want to acquire some new skills? What skills do you suggest they need to start working on right from today if they want to ace AI?
I think they should really work on understanding how prompts work with AI, start using AI as soon as possible, and not just using it as a shortcut and ignoring their fundamentals of art, but basically trying to improve their art using AI. Like there is a process for designing. Suppose if someone's designing a car, you draw a sketch and you have to render it, but the rendering takes time. So you can use AI to render it. When you get a render, you can improve it further. So designers really have to start focusing on quality. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm sure quality is something that we anyway need to focus on. So, if you want to recommend a tool that, especially in gaming and animation, that
Yes.
one needs to experiment with, you know,
Mhm.
especially for those who are interested in gaming and animation, what are your suggestions to them?
So, Adobe Firefly is a good tool. Everybody should try to, try out things with it, experience it. And even VO tool is pretty good for video generation. Yeah, these are the two tools which I have used and they are pretty good.
Okay. So one of our attendees has a
Yes.
question. Um, and they're asking what AI platform would you suggest to students for finer and detailed work? So it's very specific. So I
Okay.
asked you which tool do you recommend, and then they want to know for finer and detailed work. I mean, I'm really impressed with this question. In
Yeah.
fact,
So see, there's no one tool. There are multiple LLM coming out every 6 months, and you start learning one video generation tool, and then you realize there's one more coming up in the market. So just be attentive. Try to Every niche has a different tool. For writing, for script writing, there is a tool. For video generation, there is a tool. For even if you have to create a 3D model, there is a different tool. So yeah, try to experience all kinds of AI tools if you can. Yeah, do
okay,
not just rely on one tool.
okay. So we are saying that it should always be a mix and match of tools rather
Correct.
than just relying on one.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what
And
AI boom has been focusing on currently. Previously, students or designers used to rely completely on softwares and tools, which is now being changed. A lot of manual work and rendering work has been taken over by AI, which is a good thing, so that designers can focus on the initial pre-production and ideation part.
all right. Um, So it gives me food for thought. So is it making the beginner? So as a beginner, if I start using tools, AI tools that are there,
Could you please repeat a question? I think you got
so
internet was stuck.
I said for beginners like me, do you think AI would actually help me to be an expert, or do you think it would make people like me lazier? So do
I feel as a beginner, you should first completely focus on your fundamentals, your design language, your design fundamentals should be very clear. So when you start prompting your AI, you should know what output you are expecting. You should not an AI decide what a good output is. You are the director of it. You have to decide what outputs you want. So yeah,
all right.
just starting with AI tools, I would not recommend people to do that. I think you should first focus on fundamentals and then move over to the tools.
Yeah. I think it's very important to understand, and it's for everybody who has joined this webinar to understand that it's just a facilitator, as we said it in the beginning.
Exactly.
AI should be used as a facilitator. We should still keep thinking,
Hmm.
and I think thinking is the most important part of the design. So we have a few more questions, Anchit.
Yeah,
One of them is asking that, Ishan has in fact asked it as an aspiring animator and a person who is drawn to the hand drawn part of animation, and
exactly.
is it's the part that he enjoys the most. Okay, and he says that he has drawn the part of 2D animations, etc. He says that will it disappear? Will hand drawn part of 2D animation will disappear in the coming
No,
times because of AI?
so not really, because this exact question was being asked when 3D animation was introduced in probably 2000, early 2000 or 1990s, when Toy Story came out. And 2D animators were scared that, 2D animation is going to disappear. But the art never disappears, it's on artists who keeps practicing it. 2D animation is still coming up. People are preferring hand-drawn animation over 3D and AI work. So yeah, think art is never going to disappear.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure of that. Yes. So we have another question, Anchit, wherein they're asking what can we do to practice projects at home. I think the person wants to ask about, what tools can we use again, and then
Correct.
which part of the design should involve
Hmm.
tools, and which part of the design should be based on completely our thought process, and how can we mix the two things in such a way that we're able to practice projects at home.
All right. So again, I'll give you an example of sketching a product and then rendering it in 3D or like a real life object. First, focus on the fundamentals, draw your idea, come up with a concept, put that in AI. Let's see what what output it gives you, and then you can keep working on it. So, like if I'm creating a jar, suppose like a jar, I have designed a jar and I draw it. And then I want a 3D render, but I am not sure how to use 3D software and how to light it and how to come up with the entire 3D pipeline. So that's where AI can help you. But again, the concept and idea has to be yours. You have to draw it. You have to come up with the basic concepts.
Right. So we are saying that sketching is still important in AI
Exactly.
era.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I have got another question, and again, the focus shifts to job opportunities.
Yeah.
So the person is asking that my parents keep saying that you are not going to find jobs, etc., because of AI.
Hmm.
And in the past 5 years, the boom that has happened, what guarantee do you have for the next 5 or even 10 years?
So, as a designer, I know it's very difficult to see the future, and you might think that AI is going to take designer's job. But the thing is, it's completely relied on designers, and clients are going to look for designers to use AI to develop their projects. So, if you want to get into this industry, you have to focus on being at the top of the food chain. You have to become an art director, you have to become a creative director, and you have to focus on the entire uh, project language. You have to design the entire universe and then, use AI for that. So, AI is never going to take the top tier jobs. Although the draftman jobs and the smaller jobs could be removed, but then again, yeah, if you are the art director, you will be using AI and you will not have to worry about this.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And just anyway, no field can promise stability anymore.
Of
But it
course.
becomes, jobs become stable. Our area of job opportunities become wider if we know more tools or if we are able to upskill ourselves as per the demand of the day.
Correct.
And okay, if anyone has any more questions, they can ask, or then I have many more questions that I can. Okay. So so when we talk about AI, special design, is it that earlier, so we talked about sketching and all that. So is it
Yeah.
that we are moving completely from making to just creating? Okay, so earlier, I would think I would visualize, and then I would start sketching, and then I would redo, I would experiment, and that
Mhm.
would take us days, hours, days, and stuff like that. So, however, now I just go to a tool, whatever I have in my mind, I can just give instructions, and then I would start getting rendering, etc. So, do you think we are moving from making to just creating?
So, yeah, you could say that because from now on, I think coming 5 or 10 years, art designers and artists would be expected to not just create, but they're also expected to curate the idea. So, yeah, and I feel whatever you are experimenting, it has to show in your portfolio. And when
Sure.
art portfolios and design portfolios are going to be very different from how it used to be before, because now you have to include AI use and how your initial stage was and after using AI stages were. So that also helps companies decide, okay, this is an this is a designer who is useful for me. He can adapt to AI and then come up with good ideas. Yeah,
So has it now become difficult to differentiate between a good portfolio or a better portfolio because of AI? Because everybody is just using AI.
not really, because again, a bad portfolio would have bad fundamentals, and that's pretty evident. So if your fundamentals are clear, you will not rely on AI for that. So
Yeah,
there's a very
absolutely.
distinct difference between good portfolios and bad portfolios.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and anyway, prompting is also a skill, right?
correct.
Okay, so Ishan has again asked another question, just in continuation to whatever he's asked
Hmm.
earlier about 2D animation. He says, but 3D animation and AI are different because animation is one of the two major forms of animation, and AI will be doing both 2D and 3D animation.
Correct.
So when you just type the storyboards, why would a company pay someone for doing hand-drawn animation? He also asks which takes more time and money.
Okay. So, I mean, we cannot ignore this side because, yeah, 2D animation does take time, but you will always see with an AI output that is always repetitive, or it's like similar to different outputs. But when a different artists are working on it, when someone's actually doing 2D animation, you will see a personal touch of the artist in it. So that's something AI cannot replicate, or maybe it will take a lot of years to do that.
All right. I have got another question on portfolio.
Yeah.
Uh, um, and I think help us make good portfolio. However, we need to have that skill of giving the right prompts and right commands to the
Correct.
AI to help us make a good and a better portfolio. Okay, we have another question, Anchit, where someone wants to know what are we supposed to be? How are we supposed to be an art director after the
Okay.
4-year course?
Yes. So, of course, when you come out fresh from a college, you are not expected to be an art director. But the best thing you can start doing is come start making mock projects using AI. Suppose if you are doing branding for a product-based company, you have to show in your portfolio from the beginning, from the initial stages, that you came up with this idea, then these are your initial sketches, then you started using AI and come up with renders, and then you know how you're building the brand identity slowly. So that's the job of a art director. So it doesn't matter if you have 10-year experience or 5-year experience, you can land a art director job in probably 1 year out of college.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, it's almost the time. Let's see if we have more questions. Uh, okay, so we have got, so Ishan again is asking, but AI is improving rapidly. For example, Soro AI
Yeah,
was making 2D animations, which was
correct.
almost indistinguishable from the studio work, which is the prompt. What do you want to say about it?
Exactly. So, I mean, it answered my question. See, it's replicating something which is already done by artists. So nowadays, artists are expected to come up with original ideas, and that's what something AI will take some time to do that. So
Yeah.
this is the major difference.
Yes. All right, and there is another question where they're asking, would it be too late if I start learning right now? So I would like to address this question. I would like to say that it's never too late to start, and also, we should always start. Today is the time if I really want to start learning, and start now, start small, and stay curious, and make sure that you are aware of what is happening around you, and you're right there learning everything that you need.
Yeah,
Or you would like to add something to it, Anjit?
sure. Although I would recommend everybody to keep experimenting with new AIs and try to, keep yourself updated. But I would also suggest you to never leave drawing, never stop, learning about your fundamentals and completely relying on AI to, create ideas for you. Ideas have to be original, concept have to be original, and then AI, just use AI as a tool, not to drive you. Instead of you are the driver and you're using AI to come up with products.
Moment. Okay, I think it's about time, and we'll wrap it up now. Thank you so much, Anchit, and everyone for joining us for the webinar today.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.